What up? Hello, hello. Bienvenidos a another amazing episode, otro episodio de Hoy en Día TV. I'm your host, Yessie Rodriguez, on this beautiful day. You're live, you're well, you're kicking, and you're listening to us, viewing us, and we want to thank you for your support. Bring on my co-host, Manny Morales. Manny, welcome to the stage.
Bendiciones, bendiciones. ¿Cómo estamos, mi gente? How's everybody going?
Everything is great, thankfully. ¿Cómo tú estás?
Bien, bien. Cansé hoy, so I'm not tired.
Good.
Nap. Like, I took a nap right before the show. I was like, man, if I don't take a nap, voy a estar cansado, yawning. I couldn't have it for, I guess.
Well, you pass it on to me because I'm the one cansada from traveling and I feel jet lagged. And
How was Cleveland?
it was amazing. It was truly amazing. It was a packed house, a beautiful event. We got so much love and support, and it was good. So
That's
we
awesome.
were really happy. And so we're going to be visiting Oakland, California next.
Okay. Make sure
Atlanta.
you take the strap. You don't wear any gang colors. Stay neutral.
Okay. Thanks for the heads up, brother. I don't plan to do that. Thanks. Thanks for the heads up. Que Dios esté con nosotros, ¿verdad?
Right, exactly.
Well, from what I gather, the event is there, but where we'll be staying, I'm not going to disclose that for privacy reasons, right?
All right,
But we'll be staying in a different city, but
Okay.
the event is in Oakland, though.
Gotcha.
So, yes. So for those who want to still grab their tickets and come and watch us, Unforgettable Tour, go to unforgettabletour.com. Also, you can go under the National Alzheimer's Association. There should be a section where it says Unforgettable Tour. If not, you can also Google Unforgettable Tour Alzheimer's Association, and it'll pull up the website as well, where you can get your tickets. But in addition to Oakland, California, we're going to be going to Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to be going to Maryland, I believe it's Baltimore, and Detroit, Michigan. And yes.
When y'all coming to Atlanta?
I want to say is in 2 weeks. So Atlanta is going to be in 2 weeks. Yep.
I might try to slide out there.
How? That's not far from
like
you.
5 hours. Like 5 hours from here.
Oh, it's not bad. Okay, well then, hey, that'll be dope. Yeah, come catch Atlanta.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, everything is great. Staying busy, pushing the show, pushing content. You and I working together with what we got going on with Hoy en Día and helping it grow. So shout out to all the supporters, the listeners, the viewers, the sponsors. For those who want to be a part of, sponsor the show, we'll give you love, we'll give you promotion. Just hit us up, hoyendiatv@gmail.com. Manny, how is everything going with the financial planning and financial literacy?
It's going good. It's going really good. We've had a couple open houses. I went to my first convention for them. There was a bunch of people. People came from New Orleans. We had a lady come from New Orleans. Different places in Florida. We just got together and learned a little bit more about the other different policies that are available, and just more information to give to our clients and the people that are potential clients, so that way they can make a better sound judgment on what they want to do for their future. So it was definitely informative. I wasn't able to stay the whole time because I had the fashion show. But it was definitely informative. Yeah. So it's definitely going pretty good. If anybody out there needs financial assistance, to know more about how money works, hit me up, and we'll definitely get you into an intro class. So it's free. All the information is free. We don't push you to get anything. We just want you to have the knowledge and understand what most of the rich people know. So
right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good. I'm happy to know that everything is good. And yes, I was going to ask you, how did it go? You got so many fashion shows.
So this was a first for Jacksonville. For those that don't know, I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. We did a anime cosplay inspired fashion show. So there is one of the designers was actually there, and she modeled one of her pieces for the fashion show. The gentleman that I walk for, Johnny Nismo, he is a designer here in Florida, and he does different anime inspired pieces. So takes pieces from um, different anime cartoons, and make some dope clothes. Like the jacket that I wore, I definitely posted on my page,
Okay.
so viewers and you can see it. But it was dope. Like for the first one, of course, it was a little unorganized and
Yeah.
unorthodox because it was the first time, and we were just trying to get everything together.
Right.
Um, but the cosplay and the anime community, they're so like inviting, and they just want to be a part of something, and they want you to like what they're doing. So it was just we were well I was accepted warmly. So it was
Got
definitely, I'll do it again. Put it that way, I'll do it again. Just seeing the different cosplay outfits that people put together. It was dope. It was definitely dope. I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And dealing with fashion and just shows in general, it is a lot of fun. And our special guest today, actually, she knows a lot about fashion and fashion shows. She's going to tell us a little bit more about what she
Okay.
does. So I'm not
Okay.
going to spoil too much because I'm going to let her talk about herself. Who
Right.
best to promote you than you, right?
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
but with that, I want the viewers and the listeners to be reminded, if you are not already aware, that when putting on large productions, things are not always going to go smooth.
Right.
You have to be ready for the unexpected. Like Manny just said, things can be a little bit unorganized. Like in your mind, you have it one way, but execution, especially when you're dealing with different personalities, different moving parts, then everything is a little different. So versus you playing checkers, now you have to play chess because you're like, okay, now here, we're there, okay, there. Uh-huh.
Exactly.
That's the big game. And so if you're thinking about putting on a production, you can do it, but just make sure that you definitely have all your ducks in a row and have support, because you can do it by yourself, but you're going to be overwhelmed and overstimulated with like a lot of
Right.
emotions, right? But definitely seek help, seek for people that want to support you or help you, and everybody can grow together.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
so yeah, but that's cool. I'm glad it went great. That
Fun.
is
It was
awesome.
definitely fun. Have you ever thought about doing a show like that? Because you do fashion show. Have you ever
Yeah.
thought about cosplay or like something like that?
So not necessarily cosplay, but I do have a lot of fashion ideas in my mind that I've been documenting on my phone, like speaking. I do the voice recording so I can stay fresh because I have a gazillion different thoughts and minds about just everything that I do, whether it be fashion or acting or productions or workshops that I want to do or traveling. I drive myself crazy sometimes. So I have to like voice record everything and say, today is blah, blah, blah. This is what I'm thinking about. And then I have to like, in my audio recording, tell myself the vision so that in case I forget, I go back
Right.
and I was like, I was thinking about some and I listened to it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it was. Right.
Sponsored by Divine Beauty and Accessories.
That's the only way I can keep myself organized. Because if I jot it down, some people say you could jot it down, but jotting it down, I mean, you can easily lose it. At least with your phone, if you request it to be like uploaded to a cloud or save it to a special file,
Right.
it, double back what you've recorded, then 9 times out of 10 it should still be there,
Right.
unless something catastrophic happens, right? But nevertheless, yes, I am thinking about putting a production together very soon. I
Cool.
have some really dope ideas that looking around, I haven't seen pretty much not a lot of people do what I'm thinking about doing. So I'm excited
Uh,
about that. We'll
yeah,
see.
I was gonna ask you, but I see that you're being secretive, so I'm just not gonna ask.
I'll tell you offline, but
Yeah.
I want the world and the people to see when I deliver it, so that way people know, like, oh yeah, yes, he did that first, and then
Right. Right.
But yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, without further ado, since we are on the
Yes.
topic of
Yes.
fashion, we're going
Let's
to
figure
invite
it
on
out.
our special guest, Fatima Smith. Welcome to the.
Hola.
Hola. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I am excellent, thank you. And I thank you so much, Yessie and Manny, for having me
You're
on
welcome.
your show on this evening. I truly appreciate it. It is an honor and my privilege to be here.
All right. Thank you for
Thank
coming. Thank you for coming.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. We appreciate you and being here with us. We're definitely excited. We know it's going to be another amazing one because so far all of the shows have been really dope, and this one is no exception. It's going to be dope as well. So yeah. So tell us, who is Fatima? Fatima
Right.
Smith.
Oh my goodness.
We have an
Fatima
hour.
is multifaceted. I mean, I run out of stuff because I keep adding on and keep adding on, and I don't know how to do one thing and stick to just that one. So just pretty multi-versatile, multifaceted. So I'm a retired model. I modeled from I started modeling, if we needed to go all the way back from childhood. I started modeling at age 12 under the Frank Hatchett tutelage. If you guys do not know who Frank Hatchett was, may he rest in peace. But please Google him. But I started under his dance company and performing arts school in Springfield, Massachusetts. So that's my roots. That's my heritage. I do reside in North Carolina now. Been here for 34 years, but I'm from Springfield, Massachusetts. And I am so thankful and grateful that at 12 years old, my mother enrolled me in the Frank Hatchett Performing Arts School because it was there that I started really developing my skills as a model. I did tap, I did ballet, I did jazz, I did acrobats. And so when we talk about performing arts, I've been doing that, since a child, but even beforehand, I've been in the arts industry as a whole all my life. I remember being 5 years old and reciting a poem by Langston Hughes on a television show called Heritage Corner. So, this is kind of like who I am and what I do. I don't know anything outside of the arts and entertainment industry.
Ah, that's dope. I like that.
Thanks.
So, how was it? Just so our viewers would know, like, where did you model? Like, what was that like for you?
The journey.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can go back as far as being 17. I entered my first pageant, the Miss Massachusetts Teen USA pageant. I was one of very few Blacks. I was going to say African American, but I'm just going to keep it real. One of very few Blacks. It was a wonderful experience to be on a platform of that was that prestigious. I did not place or win, but just to experience what being a part of such, was like at 17 years old was amazing. So when you guys look at the state pageants and, it goes on to the Teen USAs and then the Miss USAs and the Miss Universe and all of that, that world is a whole vibe, like we say today, and it's a different world. It is very different from straight runway or what I have come to do. Pageantry and runway fashion shows has its similarities, but they're very different as well. But it all teaches you, it grooms you, it trains you, it prepares you for your next. It's not just about a pretty face and a nice body and, designer clothing. Is so much more than that. It's what you learn from the experience as a whole. And you get to, showcase who you are, your creative side, what you do, your gifts and your talents and things of that nature. And so at 17, that was my first experience. And so again, I had already started modeling at 12. 1982, I was 12 years old. And so my mother actually signed me up to model to teach me, or to reiterate, because she was my teacher, to reiterate, looking good, dressing nice, and being aware of who you are and how you look before you leave the household. My mother didn't play any games. I'm going to tell everybody that right now. When you lived under her roof, you took care of yourself. She was very big on, personal hygiene and grooming, and, just making sure that before you step foot out the house, that you look a certain way. And so enrolling me in modeling actually helped with that. And then I kind of developed that and, started learning my own sense of style and things of that nature. And so, of course, like I said, at 17, I did the pageant. And then I moved down south to Greenville, North Carolina in 1990. I had my first child at 21. So I took a break from the fashion industry. Okay. I had my next child. I have two right now at 23. And so I had a boy and a girl. And so fashion took a back seat to raising kids, obviously. So I didn't do anything in industry until 1998, when this whole internet modeling thing popped off. Mm-hmm. So, the internet was fairly new. And internet modeling was definitely not a no, but no one had done it prior. So in 1998, I was on a site. I stumbled across a site called benoticed.com. And literally, if you wanted to get into the fashion or modeling industry, you would upload. Back then, we were just laughing, some colleagues of mine, how back in the day we had slides, we had the film, of course, and then it went to floppy disk, and so I saw models' pictures on the website, but I'm like, how are people putting their pictures on the website? And then I saw one Black girl out of Flint, Michigan, never forget, because this is how I got my start as an internet model. I saw a Black girl out of Flint, Michigan, and I messaged her in the inbox, like, how do I get myself on this site? And of course, she was like, you scan your picture and you upload it. And, all that was new terminology to me in 1998. So I was doing photo shoots, but I'm like, how do I get it on the internet? And so she kind of walked me through that process of scanning my pictures, putting them up there. And when I did, it just took off. I was being sought after by all kinds of photographers from all over. People were actually asking me, did I have merch? In 1998, merchandise, like, do you have posters? Where can I get t-shirts and coffee mugs of you? And I'm like, of me? Like, who wants to, me? Like, that was unheard of then. Of course, now everybody and their mama have merch, and we're our own brand, and we got, to get our name out there and our face out there. But in 1998, I had no clue. I had, of course, done fashion shows and stuff locally, and I did not know about this internet world, but I promise you, it catapulted me to other dimensions. I started working with local photographers. I started just doing print work and runway simultaneously. Mm-hmm. So I favored glamour style modeling. I did lingerie. I did high fashion, even though I wasn't quote unquote industry standard height. Right. But I did get to model for a plethora of high fashion designers when I was selected, of course. But for photo shooting, I did lingerie, I did some boudoir, and I kind of had a niche. Believe it or not, my niche was in fine art. And to this day, as a retired model, if anybody had to ask me today, what's my favorite genre of modeling, it would be fine art, nudity. Before everybody go into, oh my God, she poses naked. There is an art to fine art. That's why it's called fine art. And we're not talking about taking off our clothes and just a photographer pointing and shooting. because that's tasteless and that's not fine art modeling. So I could teach a whole class on how to do it and how to do it right with class and elegance. And then I can let my body of work speak for itself, because I have some amazing, amazing, amazing photographs from when I did that type of work. But I'm just saying the genres that kind of resonated with me, that kind of made Fatima Smith the model who she was those genres. I did a plethora of it all. You have to be versatile in this industry. So I've modeled in New York, I've modeled in New Jersey, I've modeled in Atlanta, I've modeled in Charlotte and all across the East Coast. And so, oh my gosh, my body of work, I still have photo shoots on floppy disks, literally. And I don't have a computer that I can put it into now. I still have photo shoot on CDs, on DVDs, on film. Like, it's just ridiculous. But that's been my life, like I said.
That's awesome. I'm glad you just differentiated between just nudity modeling and
yes,
art, because a lot of people, like you said, they'll confuse that. I mean, it's a good thing that you gave that diverse definition.
Yeah,
so I would like to say to anybody that is dipping and dabbling into modeling or wanting to get a start and you just don't know like what you want to do, you have to find out what your niche is and what you want to do. And it's okay, absolutely okay. As a matter of fact, it's imperative to do you. I did an event. My very first FSmith Productions events were called Do You, because you have some models that do swimwear, you have some models that do bridal, you have some models that only do urban, you have some models that only do high fashion. They don't do no glamour, they're not doing no lingerie, they definitely not doing fine art, and that's okay. Everybody needs to be okay with their own body, with their choices in life and whatever it is that they choose to do. And they need to be the best and the most secure at what it is that they're doing. And it's okay that I do swimwear and you don't. It's okay that you do bridal and I don't, right. And that's where the Do You photo shoots events started becoming. And like I said, there's a difference, but I would implore people to find out about your niche, get to learn it, learn the business of it, and not just want to do it. I teach models how to become a model. I don't really like working with models that want to model, but then when you ask them, well, what is it that you want to do in this industry? And they're like, oh, I just want to model. I really don't know what that means, but I just want to do it. Well, you have to know what it means, especially if you come to me, because in order for me to coach and mentor you, I have to know what it is that your niche is. What are you good at? And what is it that I can take and help develop you? I can't coach, train, and develop you if you yourself don't even know, what it is that you want to do. So everybody's like, oh, I just want to model. Or I have parents coming to me, oh, I have a daughter who's 5'7" and she's only 11 and, she wants to model. Okay. In what aspect? You want to do TV? You want to do print? You want to do commercial? I mean, because there's various aspects of this industry and a lot of people just want to model. So if you want to become a model, I'm your girl. If you just want to model, yeah, probably not so much. You probably shouldn't come to me.
Yeah, you've been saying some amazing just things in general, dropping a lot of nuggets and a gazillion questions just popped up in my head. So going back, let's go back to the very beginning when you were telling us the story about how you began and how your mother put you in it. Now, was that something that your mother saw in you, that you expressed interest to her, or was it something that she encouraged you to do and she was like, hey, try it out and see if you like it, type of thing?
I expressed no interest in it. To be honest with you, the little girl Fatima was always found reading and writing. I always was with a book in my hand. I was the quiet one. I was the shy one. And when I say that today, people are like, yeah, right. You shy? Like, yeah, right. But no, seriously, I was always quiet, off to myself, reading and writing and just a bright child. And so my mother would, quote unquote, in the Black neighborhood, get on me because I might my shirt might not be tucked in, or, pull your pants up and tuck your shirt in and do this and do that. And just like any parents say to kids, but my family, I come from a long lineage of models and hairdressers and stylists. And, I mean, my grandmother's sister. Yeah. So that's my great aunt. My mother's aunt was my great aunt. She passed at, I think, 106, 107 or something like that. But she was fly literally till she died. She was fly. And my grandmother, same thing. Oh my gosh. All my life, that's all I saw was glamour. She exuded glamour. And then my mother took after her mother and their mother and, just our whole lineage. And I didn't know it then, but my mother was just grooming me, quote unquote, no pun intended, but literally to be classy, to be elegant, to care about what you look like, and to be beautiful from the inside out. And it wasn't just about the clothes that you wore, because she dressed us. We lived, like I said, I'm coming from Springfield, Massachusetts, but New York was a couple hours down the road. So my mother shopped at the finest stores, and my brother and I, she kept us dressed. I mean, our play clothes was like dress clothes, and people are like, why are you just so dressed up to do nothing? And it's like, because that's kind of how we dress. Right. And so I didn't ask to model. My mother enrolled me in classes to reinforce what she was already teaching in her household, how important it was to look like something before you leave the house, and to care about what you wear. Right. And how you present yourself. I later found out in life, actually, that's my presentation. And as we know now as adults, we are our own brand. We are our, what we present to the public is who we are. And so, now I obviously, with raising my own and all of that, I appreciate. I might not have liked it then because I come from a strict upbringing. So everything that wasn't exactly how she wanted it, or do this and do that and da 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 da. As kids, you think that's just your parents griping and staying on you and just always got something to say. But it actually was teaching me and grooming me for success and for my next levels in life. But I didn't understand that. But obviously, I do wholly and completely now, because I raised my kids the same way.
That is beautiful. And honestly, I'm excited because that's music to my ears, because you've seen me and we've interacted many times, and you see how I'm always dressed up with earrings and this and that, because I am with your mom, like her and I see her. And people ask me that. They're like, Lucy, you're always so dressed up, this and that. And I'm like, you know what? I dress up for me. And also I dress up because first impressions matter. You don't know who you're going to meet anywhere.
Absolutely.
So you always want to put your best foot forward, because that's the impression that they're going to have of you. My philosophy is this: if you go out to a job interview looking like you rolled out of bed, what is that going to tell that potential employer? Or even if you're going to a modeling agency or what have you, if you don't take yourself serious, how do you expect me to take you serious? Because you're not taking yourself serious.
You're absolutely correct.
So I see that too. When I see people that are not bringing their best foot, that tells me they're not taking themselves seriously. So I want to take you serious, but if you're not taking yourself serious, how can we make this work? You know what I'm saying?
And it does make a difference. It makes a world of difference, because like you mentioned, even on a job interview, it could come between, you who wore sweats and a t-shirt to somebody who had the common sense to dress up in business wear to a business opportunity as a professional. So it absolutely makes a world of a difference. But let me just stop here to compliment you, Miss Lady Chica. Oh my gosh. Everybody know you are beautiful to look at, your aesthetics, your whole makeup, and who you are. But if they know that about you, then they know equally that you're just a beautiful person. But I've never seen you not well put together, ever. And as we are sitting here, stating how important that is, I will say that you exemplify that. And I appreciate every time we've worked together. I appreciate every set that I've been on, that I've seen you at, because you stand out in a room, and it's not anything that you have to say when you walk in the door and walk across the room. It's just your presence and who you are. And I think that was what my mother was trying to do for me. And I understand that now, because I'm often told when I'm in a room, I have a presence. And so I have to attribute that to my mother and to my upbringing. And I see that in you too. I've since day one, and we've known each other for years. And I've always, thought that highly of you.
Oh, that means so much to me. Thank you. I love those. Are beautiful words. And
You're welcome.
Saying that you are amazing. I know, right? I'm always and I love that, because you know me inside and out. And that's another thing that I'm glad that you brought up, because a lot of people are quick to, when they see you or they see me or they see Manny, somebody that's, we're put together, they're quick to judge us and say, oh, they're stuck up, or oh, they're this or that. Whoa, pump the brakes, buddy. You got to get to know us.
Right.
That's right.
Get to know us,
Exactly.
And don't hate because I care about myself and I love me and I matter. Don't hate me because of that,
Absolutely. And so for the viewer and the listener that's listening to this, then if you are one of those people that are quick to judge like that, where you see the person, you're like, oh, they're this or that, please pump the brakes. Give that person a chance. And also take that time to self-evaluate. Why are you so quick to make that comment? Why are you so quick to prejudge without getting to know that person? How would you like if that shit was put on your foot and people were prejudging you, right? So think about that as food for thought. What you have to receive. You know what I'm saying?
And we all come with a story, and none of us know each other's story until it's told. Like I said, I've been down south for 34 years, and there's very few, literally very few people that really know where I come from, and how far I've come. I mean, being down south alone from Massachusetts, just the whole north and south, way of doing things, and just being no family and just finding my own way and raising kids. And everybody has a story. And so you can't judge anybody and you don't even know their story. So.
Absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. With you, when you were a younger model, in the 17s, 18s, teens, going into the young adulthood, I don't know if you ever encountered situations where they may have looked a little like iffy, right? And the reason I'm asking that is because a lot, like you were mentioning earlier when you were speaking, a lot of people want to get into modeling, but there is the good and there's also the bad, and people need to know both. Yes. Not everything that glitz and glammy is going to be glitz and glammy.
That's right.
So for a young person in that situation where they see this amazing opportunity, but they're young, they're excited, they want to go for it, but they're like, oh, I want to go for it. And then they hear the voice like, whoa, do your research, do your homework. Yes. What is that food for thought that you would share with them to make sure that they are like, this is a good opportunity or the right opportunity for them?
Well, I'm going to use us for an example. The grown up today us. You have to eat, sleep, live, breathe this, not just this, but whatever it is that you want to do in life. And it has to be your passion. Because a lot of models say, oh, I want to model. Then you put them in their first show with the hustle and the bustle and the changing clothes and the different designers and the hair and the makeup, and they're overwhelmed and they're like, oh, I didn't know it was going to be like this. Right. Well, yeah, it's like this. So that's a whole nother part of doing your research, finding out what your niche is, and really having it already as a passion before you do it. Because I've experienced a lot of people that have done it, and about a few months in, they're like, oh gosh, this is too much. It's overwhelming. I didn't know the whole hustle and bustle of the backstage of a production, big or small, the stuff that goes on backstage, the little nuances, the makeup artist didn't show up, and now you got to do your own face, and the hair lady didn't come today, and you don't have, all of that stuff. This is a business first and foremost. So definitely get with someone that teaches the industry and not just put you in shows. That's not teaching you the business of the industry. When I do consultations, I actually talk industry. When I do classes and sessions and courses with models, we do book. I take them to school first. Before you even get on my runway, when you're trained by me, it's all industry training, learning the business. And then I need to see you on the runway and see what you have. And then I can start shopping you around and giving you opportunities. But if you don't know the business, this whole industry going to swallow you up and spit you out. And then you're going to be feeling deflated because
Right.
you've exuded so much time and energy and money and buying clothes and hair and makeup and all this stuff. And then you know, don't think it's for you. It may be for you and it may not be for you. So it may be for you, but you just need the right team of people that's going to help coach, train, and develop you. And on the other side, it may not be for you. And that's okay too. What I won't do is train and pour into you and don't see where it's going anywhere, but I continue to take your money and teach and train you. And I don't feel like we're getting anywhere. I'm not going to do that. But I do know agencies and other entities that as long as you're paying them, they're going to keep trying to, you know, shop you out there. And I don't think that's right. So that's against something morally that I don't do. Who am I to say you will never be one and I can't, you know, this is not for you. I would never tell a model this is not for you. But what I will do personally is if I'm pouring into you and you're not catching on, I'm not the one for you.
Right.
Absolutely.
I just appreciate you like doing that for people, because a lot of people these days, they just want that money.
Yes.
And they don't care if the person gets a job, as long as they put money in their pocket, you know, and then they'll put them in front of photographers that are creeps, you know what I'm saying, and are trying to do it. And I'm pretty sure, you know, I'm new to the modeling industry, but I'm pretty sure you and Yessie have dealt with some creep models.
Sponsored by author Manny Morales.
Just having you as a mentor and Yessie as well, just, you know, showing them that, you know, look out for those creepy photographers and don't ever go to a photographer's studio or whatever alone. Make sure you bring somebody with you, you know, stuff like that, that the new, you know, especially the younger female models. I mean,
Yes.
there are some male models that, you know, will get taken advantage of, but it's mostly, you know. So I definitely appreciate you and for, you know, bringing that to the new models that are coming out now, you know.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. If a photographer tells you you cannot bring a companion or your parent, anybody to their set, run. There is no reason why a professional, anybody should say that no one can accompany you. Now, there is a difference because I have shot photography. I kind of like laid it down for a little while. It's taking a backseat to other things, but I don't allow people on my set when I'm working one-on-one with someone. But as far as somebody bringing you there to make sure that this is everything that you said it would be, of course that's allowed. That's for your safety and your protection. And I don't care how good the photographer is or how professional they say they are. Hence, when I started internet modeling, somewhere along the way, the terminology GWC came into play, guy with a camera, because as the business started getting more and more vast and, you know, everybody and their mama wanted to model, there were pervs with, and they still are, and they're called guys with cameras. If you ever hear the terminology GWC, stay away from them, because anybody can pick up a camera and point and shoot and say that they can take you places and give you opportunities and all of that. But that's where that research comes from. You have to ask them, who else have you worked with? What else have you done? And show me some credentials and where's your resume? And you have to study. They need to show themselves approved by you. Don't be so quick to get excited because you saw a nice picture. And then we got to also understand that we have novice people in industry who thinks everything is nice. Oh, he does great work. And then, you know, somebody like me, I'll look at it and like, yeah, not so much. But to somebody that don't know any better and don't know what to look for, you know, like the cell phone pictures today are amazing. And there are people who really do great work, but is this their profession? And are they really who they say they are? Or did you just see a nice picture and you're like, oh my gosh, he wants to work with me? No, you have to do your research, and they need to make themselves approved. You need to approve. And if you don't know what you're doing, get somebody in industry to help you make those choices. Because, as we know, you're talking about scammers. Yeah, the scammers are out there. The pervs are out there. They always have been. There's nothing new under the sun. None of this is anything new. I was born in 1970, and this was going on long before me. So there's always been people that uses their cameras as a ploy to lure. And so, we need to be very mindful of that.
Right.
And I'm really glad you brought that topic up and we're talking about this, because that is something very, very important that I want the audience and listeners to take into account. If you want to get into the industry, or you might already be in the industry, or maybe have a loved one, these are some of the things you have to take in mind, because there's a lot of sex trafficking that I've heard come out of situations like modeling, acting, etc. That's where you always have to do your due diligence, do the research. Make sure this booking opportunity, is it truly legit? Who is this person? Where's their resume?
Mm-hmm.
These are things, and like Fatima was saying, that you have to look into to make sure that this is truly legit, because this could be a life or death situation for you. Or the manipulators. This is another thing I've heard of, where they're putting you into different things great. But then it's starting to get riskier and riskier. Oh, can you go here? Can you go there? But where's money in my pocket? Because I got to start getting paid.
Absolutely.
You can still do stuff for, what is it called? The TFP. But eventually you're going to gain more knowledge and experience. You got to start getting that money.
Let's talk about TFP. Because again, I came into anything you guys want to know about the today. I was already there. I was already there. So when the terminology TFP came into play, it was time for, and back in the day, the P stands for print. This is when you worked with a photographer. You might be a new model. He might be an experienced photographer. He should be, he or she. But anyway, and the exchange was a viable exchange. It was no monetary compensation. But if you be my muse and allow me to shoot you, you need pictures for your portfolio. And this was back in the day when physical portfolios, lookbooks were actually being done. The premise to the TFP was both parties get something out of it. So we do the photo shoot, you get images for your portfolio, I get images to build my business, and there's an exchange. Okay, so that's a viable TFP. I'm not opposed to that, long as all parties get exactly what they were expected to get out of it. Today, there's still a necessity for TFP. But again, understand what the words mean and understands the exchange of, if I do this, then I get this. And make sure that whatever your contract says, and you should have a contract, a written piece of document saying, we're going to do a photo shoot. You're going to get 25 of the images that I select or you select, or it should be in detail. There's so many photo shoot opportunities and so many different fashion shows and so many different events going on, even today. And people are like, I didn't get my pictures, or, he only gave me 5 images, or whatever the case may be. Before you enter in that agreement, because the time for is an agreement. And so the initial original was TFP. And then after we stopped printing, it became TFCD, time for CDs. Your work would be given to you on a CD. And then time for the video, time for video. People started getting, videos. And so it evolved. But the point is, before you even agree to a TF anything, it needs to be in writing. You need to know exactly what you're going to get out of this shoot, this show, this deal, whatever it is that you're collaborating on. It needs to be in writing. That way there's no mishaps. There's no you know, he didn't fulfill his end of the bargain and I did, and I bought all these clothes and I did all of this and I did all of that, but I only got 2 pictures. I mean, you know, so there definitely need to be a contract. And then the time for was to develop you, and so you can work on being a better you. Your next shoot should be greater than your last shoot. You don't down shoot, and what I mean by that is you don't shoot with this marvelous photographer and he's renowned for his amazing work, and then your very next shoot is somebody just starting and then your pictures, you know, suck. You don't want to do that. Everything you do should be better than the last thing that you've done. That's leveling up. That's going to that next level. And then you can get paid. So I'm not opposed to getting paid, but the time for has its place, and it serves its place because it's supposed to develop you to get to that point where you're going to be paid and the photographer is going to get paid eventually. But it's when people manipulate and take advantage of that whole meaning is when stuff go awry, and then people feel like, you know, somebody's being taken advantage of. So like a lot of stuff in this world, we take something that's so good and then muck it up, and then now it's, you know, it defeats its purpose.
Yeah, that's not only with modeling, that's in a lot of things. Like people just, it's that one bad egg, you know, and it spoils the whole situation, you know. Contracts. I don't care what it is. Type it up. Do a signature, something. I mean, some paper is better than no paper, because if there's ever a time where you have to, you know, get legal advice and it goes into a court situation, the first thing they're gonna ask you, do you have any documentation?
Yep, that's a true story. That is a true story, and also with the time for print, because I still use the old school terminology, time for print. You're investing your time for that print, whether it be a digital print, a CD print, a floppy disk print, whichever type of print, you're still getting some, right?
That's right.
But also with those models, use that to your advantage too. Once you get those copies or your end of what you fulfilled, start promoting yourself. I've noticed that also, where a lot of people, they have all these amazing pictures, but we never see them. There's like, oh, I did modeling. I'm looking. I was like, well, when did you go? Because you never post anything. I know that you're a model, but does anybody else know that you're a model? Like, you know, so that's one of my pet peeves when it comes to when I hear like, oh, I did this and I did that and I did that. I'm like, that's great, congratulations, but where's the proof in the pudding?
Sponsored by Collectiveware.
Well, it goes back to why. Your why. Why are you doing this? Are you doing this for hobby? Are you doing it for likes on social media? Or are you doing this because you're trying to learn and grow and level up to go to that next level to do this professionally? So as we know, everybody have different reasons, and a lot of times it's really somebody's family member or best friend or whoever, like, oh girl, you tall and you pretty, you should model. Oh, you know, you got long legs, you should model. Or it's other people deciding for people what they should do, and they don't even know industry for themselves. And then they get their daughters and their classmates and the, you know, all these people into doing something, and they really didn't know what all of that entailed themselves. You know, so it's not a game. Now it's fun. As we know, it is fun. You get to meet a lot of people. You get to, you know, work with an amazing array of different people in industry, professional people. But if you're trying to do this as a serious business, then your work should reflect it, and there should be some sign. So no one should be able to come and say, oh, I'm a model to anybody, because the first words people are going to say, okay, show me what you got. Do you got comp cards? Do you got a lookbook? Like, let me see your work. And like, yes, he was saying, where is your work? I did this amazing photo shoot in Paris. Okay, where is it? Is it in a magazine, or is it on Facebook, Instagram? Where's your work? You saying this is what you do, but there's no proof. And another thing I want to say about that is, me personally, I wouldn't consider Facebook a platform for building yourself as a model, or trying to get a career. Now, again, me going way back and, you know, haven't been noticed on Be Noticed, and then there was MySpace, and then there was Model Mayhem, and then there was One Model Place, and there was, those places online that are catered to the industry. That's where your work should be.
Right.
That's where your work should be. I would not dare, and I'm just speaking from me, and I know this is a new day in time, and I'm retired, so not my business, but I would not dare post lingerie pictures of myself on Facebook, boudoir, fine art. And I said my fine art is classy. Well, I don't do it anymore, so of course I wouldn't put it on there anyway. But the point is, that's not the platform for that. Now, if you have a Instagram page, and if you have TikTok and all of that, and you're trying to market yourself as a brand, get you your own brand page, get your website, get a brand page, and brand yourself. But just having, lingerie pictures and just all kinds of any kind of pictures just out there for likes, that's not telling me that you're serious about your craft and that you're really trying to get somewhere in this industry. That's telling me that you just like taking pictures. Right. And to be honest with you, that's okay too, because there's photographers that just like taking pictures. Mm-hmm. But how far are you going to go with that? Again, what's your purpose? What's your why? Why are you doing this? And it is okay. A lot of people just like taking pictures. And I'm only getting ready to slightly vent. It ain't that big of a deal, but this is one of my pet peeves. Mm-hmm. I am the Southeastern region fashion editor for iFashion magazine, which is a New York magazine out of New York and Canada. And so it's international. Oh. Why are you doing high fashion couture magazine quality work and throwing it out in the air for likes when you could really be published and seen overseas, internationally, but you're not doing that, but you're taking pictures and just throwing them out in the air? Mm-hmm. Again, it's, what would be the purpose? So that all goes back to why you doing this in the beginning. Are you doing it for fun? Because it's something I like to do. My cousin's a model, so I wanted to dip and dabble and try to model too. Or are you doing this because somebody saw potential in you and you really want to try a stab at this to see how far you can go? So yeah, it's a lot. As we know, it's more than the glitz and the glam. And I know people have heard that time and time again, but it is so much more than just a pretty face, a nice slender body, and the glitz and the glam. So much more. It's work, actually. And then when we ask you to work, now you're like, oh, I didn't know it was so much work. We have to go to rehearsals. You mean we got practice again? And I got to walk in heels. Yeah. This is the business. This is the industry. This is what we do. And when you're walking for multiple designers, I'm not about to get on my soapbox. Let's not go there. But I will say this, and I'm going to shut my mouth. When you're walking for multiple designers, it is an honor and a privilege to be selected. I don't know what in the world has happened today, because in my day, we had to stand before designers and we were hand chosen who was going to walk for who. And not everybody got a chance to walk. You might, out of a show with 10 designers, you might walk for 1 or 2 designers. You might walk for 1. That's not to say that you would be the choice for every designer there. But today, it's like models are kind of complaining, and some of them are disrespectful to designers and their clothing and their vision and their creations, and they feel entitled. That's how this works. It is a privilege for a designer to see fit to put you in their garments. And so they should be respected. Designers don't get nearly as much respect as they deserve. Yes, we need, well, not we, because I'm not a designer. Yes, they need physical bodies in their clothes to be a walking mannequin and to present the clothing. But the model should consider the opportunity for what it is. It's an opportunity for you to walk for designers to bring their garments to life. And I'm starting to see a lack of respect for that. And I don't like it. I personally don't like it, because I had to slave and I had to fight my way to walk for certain designers. I mean, I've walked for designers, and that was again a privilege. But I'm seeing a little lackluster today in the privilege. Models show up and just feel like because they model, they're expected to be chosen, and that's kind of like, yeah, a new thing for me. So I just had to throw that out there.
Right. No, I'm glad you shared that because I echo exactly what you're saying. Designers are the reason why there are fashion shows, why you were selected to model that clothes, bring that garment to life. Right. And so with that, I remember this was years ago when I was doing a really big fashion show. And there was a young lady that I was standing next to, and we were in our own little sections changing clothes, putting on our designer clothes. And when this young lady changed, the aroma in the air was very uncomfortable. It was very, very uncomfortable. And with me, I have a very sensitive nose where I smell things that I don't want to smell. And so I had to walk away because I started like gagging. And so I say that to say this: hygiene, personal hygiene, please. Take care of yourself. Please. And if you sense that something may be wrong, please go see a doctor. Please go see a doctor.
Very important. Very important. Yes. So what should happen? First of all, you should bathe daily. Or let me take that back. Everybody don't bathe every day. That was I was trained up to do that. So that's just a practice in my household. But anyway, but as far as putting on designer pieces, understand that these are pieces that started off as cloth, and the designer's God-given talents and creations made them into what you see before presentation. And so it's your job to present it in its best light. You should bathe, most definitely, but do not put any scents on designers' garments or put any perfume on, because again, the designers have to showcase these pieces in other shows. So you don't want to spray perfume all over their clothes or on your body, as a matter of fact, because of course your scent will be left in that piece. Please put deodorant on, but do not do the I was going to say powdered deodorant, not the powdered deodorant, the one that's going to leave a stain, obviously. Do not do that. Some designers don't even want you doing lotions or oils or anything like that, because if you have satin or silk or, whatever the material is, again, this is their handmade sewing machine creation. And, one person can ruin it. And so, but all of this is taught and told with the ethics of learning the industry. If you don't know the industry, you're not going to know to do that, So here we go again, talking about just getting the coaching and the training and the development part of it. And then you'll know what to do, even as far as being at a show and working the garment and coming back and just ripping their clothes off or throwing them on the floor or, no. No, we don't do that. These designers have to continuously showcase their pieces. And the hopes is to sell. That's what they do it for. They want the consumers to look at you and say, I want that. Can I buy that today? And then they get it and it's smelly. No. No. But that's the etiquettes of, modeling. That's not being taught. And I don't think it's not being taught because there's not people to teach it. I think it's not being taught because people aren't trying to pay for the training.
Which is very, very, very important. Model development is highly important. I invested in it. Fatima invested in it, and her mother. Manny, I'm sure you've invested in it.
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And so with that in mind, I mean, yes, this is just like with anything. People go to school to get degrees, so that way they can look marketable for a potential employer. That's the same thing that you're doing with modeling, with acting, with anything that has to do with media, arts, taking pictures. You're investing in yourself the same way that you would invest hundreds and thousands of dollars to get your degree. You should be doing the same thing if this is the industry that you want to take seriously.
For sure.
You want to find ways to make yourself stand out. Like, wow, I want to work with that person. Because guess what? What Fatima just shared is if you are manhandling, how I call it, garments, putting makeup on it and doing this and doing it on the floor, being mean to the designer, you're getting black booked. I'm telling you that right now. Black booked, which means that nobody wants to work with you. I'm just keeping it 100.
Right.
You're right.
Yep.
I've seen and heard of models that have been black booked because of that. And then they're like, oh, well, I don't know what I did. Ma'am, yes, you did. Or sir, whoever. Ma'am, sir, whoever.
Right.
So nevertheless, with that in mind, and just fast forwarding to the opportunities now, because you do a lot of amazing things. So I know you do the fashion consulting, right? In the boutique. You have a lip gloss line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
FSmith Glam Gloss. Yes.
Yes. And then you also do model coaching development. So talk to us about all those different facets and pockets of businesses that you have under your business and name.
Okay. So FSmith Productions actually came about because I worked for one of my dear friends in industry for a very long time, and kind of just was the right arm to somebody else's company. And although, there was a time where that was my place, at some point in time, I felt like I needed to venture off and become my own brand. And so I did that. And like I stated earlier, I started off with events called Do You. So I started off doing photo shootout events. I did one downtown Raleigh at an old club. It's a warehouse type club. The Office. I was gonna say I forgot what it was called, but it actually was called the Office. And so I had I had maybe like 10 photographers, maybe like, I don't know, 20 models, and hair to makeup, everything. And so that was my first photo shoot out event, and the work from that, totally amazing. I don't really want to start calling out names because I will ultimately miss somebody, but I do want to give a shout out to somebody very special who's no longer here with us, Mel Brown. I actually, for anybody that know or knew Mel, should I say, I got him started with shooting models. He's always been a photographer from a child because his daddy taught him that. But I got him into doing photo shoots and shooting fashion shows in the fashion industry, and he just became a mogul. And so rest in peace, Mel Brown. He was one of my photographers at the photo shootout at the Office downtown Raleigh. Derek Clegg, have to give him a shout out. He's no longer with us. He was another mogul. Oh my gosh, Derek's work was outstanding. And long list of people. But anyway, that's how I first started FSmith Productions. It was doing photo shootout events. I did a photo shootout in the mountains. It was, oh gosh, what's the name of that city? Black Mountain, North Carolina. Took a group of models, took photographers, the whole shebang. And so I started off doing that. And then it turned from photo shootouts to runway production shows. So FSmith Productions started doing productions. And so I actually did a stint of 12 months at a place in Raleigh called Betty's. It was a jazz lounge. And every single month for a year straight, I did a fashion event based on a different cause. So, back in the day, I was doing modeling just because fashion was fashion. But being the Christian that I am, I heard a word from the Lord, and he said, you will no longer do shows and events just for claps and applauses. You will do meaningful, cause-worthy events where people would leave getting much more than what they came for. And so that catapulted me into doing an event called Fashion Fridays. Happened one Friday out of each month for 12 months. I did events on poverty awareness and homelessness. I did events on autism, I did events on cancer and lupus, and every single month had a different theme. Suicide, domestic violence, which spent off another group of models and actors that I have called Models and Actors United. I started doing domestic violence related skits, not to glorify, of course, the epidemic, but to show people in their face how something so simple as like a guy checking his girl's phone or vice versa, and saying things that's inappropriate, and next thing you know, they're fighting and somebody's being abused. And so I take true to life for instances that are pretty sad, but it happens. It's real. So you can't dumb it down. You have to show it. And so what we do is we do a 15-minute skit called Not That Girl, and we showcase it. And it's real and it's in your face, and, as to show people what not to do in relationships. But so anyway, like I said, the Lord himself changed my trajectory when it comes to fashion. And I do stuff in an atypical way now, where it has to have a cause-worthy meaning to everything that I do. No longer are we doing events just for somebody to say, oh, wow, that was a dope show. Oh, my gosh, the models were amazing. But what did you leave with outside of just that? Did you leave with something deposited into you? My events have guest speakers. My events have musicians. My events have spoken word. So FSmith Productions started to turn into an arts entertainment company, because I do incorporate the spoken word and the Rip the Runway style modeling show with the artists and things of that nature. And God is just like taking it to amazing heights. And since the pandemic, though, I personally have not created an FSmith Productions event, but I have been showcasing, actually, or presenting, shall I call it, designer pieces. I have two colleagues. One is El Antonio Resort Wear Collection, and that is from my editor-in-chief of the magazine that I'm a part of, iFashion. He has a line called El Antonio, and I present that in fashion shows on behalf of Lloyd Crawford. And then I work with a lady out of oh gosh, she's out of Kenya, but she lives in Raleigh, and she's a vendor. So she has African clothing, and she doesn't do fashion industry. She sells the clothing so she can help feed the villages, the families from where she comes from. So she imports the clothing, or she goes over there and gets them from the ladies in her village, and then bring them back here, and she vends, and I do fashion shows. So that's another way of sending the kids in Africa to school and putting food back on their tables. So again, today, fashion production and shows and things of that nature have a whole new light, compared to how I got started and what I used to do. Now it's all for such a higher purpose. So then all of this is under the guidance of FSmith Productions. So I started with the photo shootouts, and then I started, teaching and training, and then producing and kind of doing my monthly Fashion Fridays. And now I present, like I said, on behalf of designers, and I have the FSmith Glam Gloss. My granddaughter, who you guys will see on another show some other time, but my granddaughter is an author now, and she became one at 9, and she's 11. And her book is about having the first day of school jitters for kindergartners or preschoolers that's kind of nervous about going to school. And she has a powerful message about having the courage from within to try something new and different and make new friends. And so, I've been pouring into her and promoting her book. Now, that isn't an FSmith Productions event, but that's still another way that we're giving back to the community, and that she's encouraging other little kids to, not be scared or nervous. And so, yeah, I do a lot. I'm a certified life coach. I also own a travel business. So yeah, it's a long list. I still teach, I still train, I still coach, train, develop. Um, and I'm gonna die eating, sleeping, and breathing the fashion industry because that's all I've known all my life. But I really like the fact that the latter years I'll be known for, what was poured into others and how they utilize that. And like we always say, it's a cliche, but if I've helped one somebody, get to their desired destination, then I've done my job. So, I have models today or that started with me as babies. I have 5-year-olds that are now grown and in college. And, I'm looking back like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I remember when you did your first fashion show. And, I have people that went on to have babies and got married and went to college. And I've got people that signed too. I worked with a 12-year-old. Shout out to Lauren. Oh my gosh, she was 12 years old. Her mother promised her she could start modeling at 12 and came to me by referral. I trained her for 6 weeks. And like I said, I took her to school before she did anything. And then after that, she started doing shows. And the girl now is signed with a New York agency. She's in college. I think she's 22-ish.
Wow.
She's just doing her thing. And it's amazing to see that she's modeling in Paris and she's just working with all of these high fashion elite designers. And can never say it was because of me, but I'm proud to say that I had a part in her journey, as well as everybody's path, everybody that has crossed my path. It's a blessing to have had a part in their journey. So that is who FSmith Productions is. That is who I am, what I do, in a nutshell.
That's
Wow.
awesome. That's definitely awesome.
Wow. Yes. A lot of amazing, remarkable just things that you do, especially the Kenya. Oh,
her garments are beautiful. I don't know if you've seen them. I'm trying to think. Yes, at the Mercedes-Benz show. If I'm not mistaken, I think I showcased. Well, no. I wouldn't have showcased that line because I think that was just high fashion. I did the dresses. You wore my dresses. Well, not mine. Lloyd Crawford's. You did. Yes. You shot in El Antonio in the black and white. Yeah. But yes, just awesome.
Wow. Yeah. You do many amazing things. That's the reason why we have you on Oi India TV, because the goal is to motivate, inspire, entertain, enlighten, and just give you all food for thought.
Right.
Because sometimes a lot of us are just so in that negativity. It's like, whoa, let's pump the brakes. You don't have to be in that negative space all the time. Get yourself out of it. See the positive side of what you think is negative, because any negative thing that you think is negative is actually showing you or trying to show you something for you to learn, grow, develop, and be a different, better person than what you were yesterday.
Yes.
All right.
We're gonna have to have you on for part 2, ma'am, because I still have a lot of questions. And it's this is getting juicy.
Her resume, like, just amazing. It's awesome to see successful people and the journey that you've taken. You spoke about your mom and how she kind of ushered you into this industry, and it just flourished for you, and that's amazing. That's just completely amazing.
Thank you. I mean, what's in you is in you. Your DNA, don't lie. Whether you want to tap into it and really understand like who you are is up to you. But whatever your parents created, that is great. Then you have greatness in you. And it's just, again, it's up to you to tap into it. And of course, growing up, we don't really, I would say I'm a product of the 70s. So, our generation, like I said, we're playing double dutch. We're outside. We're doing this and we're doing that. We're not really kind of like aspiring or hoping to be famous in this and that or whatever on this level. But to be over a half a century today and look at the things that my mother stressed and instilled in me, and how it was lackluster. It didn't mean anything. And I was like, and now I see where and why she was making deposits all of my life.
Right.
And that's what a good parent do. They deposit into you. So when you get older, you will produce the fruits of their labor.
Right.
And so now I've done that with mine. I have adult children with children. So I've done that with mine, and they get to do that with theirs. But if you have gifts and talents and anything that is in your DNA, tap into it and really kind of like, find out who you are, find out whose you are, and just, we here be the best that you can be. But it's just so much about us that sometimes we don't even know until somebody kind of tells you have potential. They see potential in you, but then they help you pull it out. You might feel like you have potential, but don't realize the magnitude of how great you are until someone else brings it out of you. And so I'm just grateful that if I see somebody that I know have strong potential, I can help them get to where they want to go. Now, if I don't, I can't, I can't give you something that you don't have, or I can't help you tap into something that you're not ready to do, or or don't know that you can do it. So so many of us, we believe in people when we like, oh, you could be so much better at this, and you're so great, and you have all of we say that, but unless they feel that and know that, then there's nothing we can do for them.
Right.
Absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Absolutely. And you're just a truly remarkable, amazing, beautiful person. And
thank you,
I'm glad
sister. Me, Amana.
Yeah, I'm glad that we have that bond, that rapport in a positive way, right? It's like we know each other. We've been knowing each other for years. So we speak candidly because we want to definitely help people, the three of us. Because
yes.
Manny be throwing some wisdom down too. Manny be throwing it down. But talking about that, there was a question that I wanted to ask, and it's one that I'm passionate about with regards to model walking, because mentioning when I look at the Versace's, Dolce & Gabbanas, all the high fashion, there's just certain walk that you have to do. But when I'm looking at local production, everybody's doing like a dance and bouncing and and it's just kind of it makes me like cringe a little, because it's like that to me is not how it's supposed to be. But what are your thoughts about the model walk? What you see from a high fashion standpoint to what we see in the productions that we're exposed to in our areas?
It's definitely your demographics, because the South isn't known for high fashion. The South isn't known for fashion. I mean, you're gonna find it in New York, you're gonna find it in Milan, you're gonna find it in LA, and various other places. And so with people being up and coming and trying to do fashion weeks and fashion shows and on a bigger scale, everybody should kind of like be on the same accord with what the walks should look like, but they're not, because you have, various people trying to emulate what they may see in New York or Milan or Paris or whatever. And then you have your urban who is not straight runway, and you're allowed to click and twist and turn, and there's troop style modeling, there's straight runway, there's half turns, there's no turns. It's just so much, so many different ways to present. And some of the people doing the fashion shows don't know that there's so many different ways to present. So again, I would just encourage people to not just want to be in a show just to be in a show, but make sure that show is conducive to your style of modeling and where you want to go. If you ultimately want to be on a runway in Milan or in Paris or in New York on a high fashion level, then you need to know how to walk a high fashion walk. I mean, there is a place for everything, but you got to know what that place is. I teach sass, and I'm not saying drop it like it's hot and get up and do the splits and do a somersault and all of that. You better not ever do that on my runway. But I do teach confidence and showing personality and, the alternating shoulders and the little sass with your hips to a minimum. We not, a lot of models, oh, I'm going to kill it. And and a lot of times what your version of killing it is killing the energy. And it's not cute. And see, I'm one of few that's going to tell you it's not cute. And no, don't do that. And we don't get to the T and drop it and pick it back up in a designer couture garment. No, we don't. First of all, we don't do that at all. But we definitely don't do that in a designer couture garment. So find out who you're walking for. Find out what type of walk they want you to present. And a lot of times that should be told, obviously, in your casting, in your audition. You should know what they're looking for. And it is very good to be well-rounded and well-versed in the various styles and various genres of walking. Because if I say do straight runway, straight runway. If I see show me some sass, you know how to show some sass. Not too much, just a little. But then you might have someone else that wants a lot. And they might say twist and twirl and do this and do that. And if that's what you do it. If that's what they're asking you. But if that's not what you do, don't do it. And that's okay to say, I don't do that. I only do straight high fashion style runway if that's what you do. So I'm just a true believer in sticking to what it is that you want to do in this industry, staying true to that, but at the same time being versatile. You want to be chosen if this is what you want to do, to walk for urban, if that's your thing. You want to be chosen for swimwear, if that's your thing. You want to do bridal, if that's your thing. But in bridal, you're not going to do an urban walk in a gown, So you have to know the differences. And again, all of this is taught, but who's being taught and who's paying for classes? So I don't know today I can honestly say, I don't know what's being taught, because some of the shows that I go to as a new age pioneer in this industry, I can't go back to, the greats. But as being doing this for over 25 years, I cringe in my chair at some fashion shows. And I'm like, whew. But again, you really can't fault the models if they're not being taught. You can't fault the producers or the designers if, they are teaching or telling a model to do this, and then they get on the runway and feel themselves and do something different that you didn't expect. And you're like, oh my gosh, no, she didn't. Oh no, not in my clothes, So, but it all goes back to finding out what you want to do in industry, learning about what it takes to do what you say you want to do in industry, and just being the best you can be at that. That way it opens up potential for you to be booked more often. The whole name of the game is to get bookings. So if you do high fashion and you're really good at it, guess what? You're going to be booked for high fashion shows. If you do, and again, troop style modeling, for those that don't know, that's collegiate style modeling. And there's a place for that. But you're not going to do collegiate style modeling, like I said, when you're walking for David Bridal. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to know, you got to be versatile, but you got to know when to do what. And down, I hate to say it because I'm 34 years down here, quote unquote, down here. But down here, you see a lot. It's not universal. And it's kind of up to the producers to set the tone for their show. And that happens at castings. And unfortunately, everybody that goes to a model casting, everybody can't be chosen. The whole purpose is to select the best people that will showcase these designers' clothing. And if you are not the best at showcasing the designer's clothing, you probably shouldn't get chosen. And it's not a personal thing. That's another thing, that's been going on since the beginning of time. Models feeling maybe inadequate or a sense of not worthy if they're not chosen. You are adequate. You are worthy. You just wasn't the look or the fit for that particular event at that time. That does not mean that you can't audition again for another show, or, you know, or get better at what it is that you're doing with feedback. So all castings should have feedback. All models should leave knowing something. You know, you shouldn't just, in my opinion, you shouldn't just leave a model casting with the anticipation of waiting, did I get chosen or did I not, or whatever. You should leave with something like a follow-up. You know, we'll get back to you in a couple of weeks and let you know if you're chosen. You're going to receive an email. You're going to get a phone call, something. You shouldn't just ever go to a casting and then just be left hanging. But you got to understand, just like in competitions and anything else in life, everybody's not going to be selected. And that's just the name of the game. We want the top, best people. And that's not to say that newbies are not included, because you can be a newbie that just started and can kill the runway and you've never done it before. And then there's somebody that's been doing it for 10 years that's not even at your level. And I will be the first person to say, I just helped out backstage. Shout out to Swanetta on Friday night, actually, at the Black Film Festival in Winston-Salem. Fashion show was amazing. Swante Designs, awesome designer, amazing. But anyway, there was one particular model, and I'm always not necessarily in scout mode, but when you go to a fashion show and you see models that just have it, as a producer, as a mentor, as a coach, as all of that, I get excited. I'm like, ooh, I don't know who she belonged to, but I want her. She is just awesome. I want her. I'm already envisioning designers that I know she's going to kill their garments because I just seen her kill it in this show. So after the show, I asked the girl, you know, well, first of all, I told her how amazing she was. And she's like, oh, this was my first show. I'm like, no way possible. No way possible. That was her very first show. And I promise you, a trained eye would not know this girl had never modeled on a runway a day in her life. When I say she was classy, she was elegant, she was high fashion, she was beautiful, and she displayed the fabrics and presented the garments amazing. And that's my point. You could just start today and the audience don't even know that you just started and be just as good as the ones that's been doing it for years.
Right. Absolutely. Yes.
That's amazing.
Food for thought.
Shout out to that young lady. Her name, I don't want to mess it up. Yeah, so I won't try, but she is, oh my gosh, she just has it. And as somebody who know industry, you know, when you see somebody that just has that it factor, or that wow factor, and this one, she does. She most certainly does. And I'm sorry, because I do want her to watch this when it airs, but I promise you, it's not because I'm intentionally not saying your name. I just don't want to botch it up. But when you watch this, awesome job, young lady.
That is beautiful. Well, we are hitting that end where I'm trying to find a good happy ending, but this is tough. So we're definitely gonna have to have you.
I could talk, y'all. You know, when it's like I said, if you don't eat, sleep, breathe, and have passion about what it is that you do, you probably shouldn't be doing it, because this is something I can do in my sleep and I could talk about all night.
I'm passionate about it too. And Manny, he has experience, but this is great learning for him as well.
Right. Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
So with the closing, we always give our guests the opportunity to say last minute words and also help promote you, your brand. So for those who want to work with you, want to seek you out as a coach, a mentor, patronize your business with the lip glosses and other things that you have to offer, how can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook. There's 2 pages. One is Fatima Smith, and that's just my personal page. The other is FSmith Productions. I also have a new name that I'm branding, which FSmith Productions is going to follow under. That's in the works right now. It's I Am Fatima Smith. So I'm taking everything I do, the life coaching, the lip gloss, the production, everything I do, the Models and Actors United, and I'm putting it in one place under I Am Fatima Smith. So right now, I have a Square page, and that is I am Fatima Smith .square.site. You can see my lip glosses. You can schedule a consultation with me if you're interested in modeling, and my granddaughter's books are up there as well. So we're working on some things where everything's going to be in one place under the guidance of I am Fatima Smith. I am still old school, so I'm savvy with the internet and some of the new age things, but not really all that good at it. Looking for an assistant, so plug, shout out if you can help me. But I do need to keep my FSmith Productions page current and updated, as well as my Instagram. I am on Instagram, FSmith Productions on Instagram, but it's not current because all the hustle and bustle and everything I have going on in life. FSmith Productions is Fatima Smith. A lot of people don't know I'm one person. So although I have this entity, I do a lot of the work, all of it. It would, unless it comes a point where I pull my team together, of course, and then we work together. But for the most part, FSmith Productions is Fatima Smith. So I need help keeping my pages updated. I have the content, I have footage, I have videos, I have stills, I have photo shoots, I have a lot. But if you are out there and you are into brand marketing, or what do they call it today? The social media, the
Content creators.
Content creator. I need you. I have the content. I just need help with keeping it relevant to the people. So yeah, holla at me. Holla at me. And I would definitely appreciate that a lot of people, I primarily do a lot of Facebook, but I don't really kind of brand myself as much as I should. And that's just because, again, I have a lot going on and I need some help with that. So an assistant would be, it would be mucho necessary. Oh,
okay.
Necesita.
Thank you. Yes, that's awesome. Manny Morales, your turn. Where can people find you? You are author. You have a lot going on as well. And you always have some amazing last minute words. I'm excited to hear about it.
Yeah. Like I always say, don't let the fear of failure overcome the righteousness of success. You see our guest, like she's been, it's a legacy that she's continuing with her, the modeling in her family, and she just made it more amazing than it was before. And you could do it too. Don't feel like you are limited to your surroundings and what's going on in your day-to-day life. Like if you have that dream, or if you have that spark or that idea, make it happen. You can make it happen. You're your own worst critic, and you're the only one that can make things happen in your life. Don't let others influence your ideas or your thoughts or your dreams. Only you could make it happen. You'll have help along the way, but only you could make it happen, So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, author Manny Morales. My book is on Amazon. But you could inbox me if you want a autographed copy. I also do financial education if you want to learn how money works and try to set something up for your future. Hit me up. Like I'm a brand ambassador, like just a bunch of stuff, So
yeah, you stay hustling. That's amazing.
Yeah. How about you?
So for me, I definitely want to give another special shout out. So throughout the show, you're going to see different quick 6 to 10 second commercials just saying sponsored by. There are different sponsors. We have author Manny Morales. We have Divine Beauty and Accessories. We have Collective Wear, Collective Visions, Myra Enterprises. And you can also become a sponsor of OYMDIA TV. So if you are interested, I am putting the email right now at the bottom of the page. Just reach out to oyamdiatv@gmail.com. Email us, absolutely. And so for me, for those who wanted to know me more or more of who Yessie is, I have a lot going on as well. It's similar to these two amazing individuals. So I would say just Google me, type in YESSE Rodriguez, and you're going to see my Facebook, IG, website, yessierodriguez.com, and then just other stuff, bios and different sites of I did that the other day, actually. I Googled myself, and there's a bunch of sites that have a bunch of stuff on me. I'm like, oh, okay.
All right.
Well, somebody cares. So I appreciate whoever's putting up information about me.
Right.
Not all of it's true, but hey, at least I'm in somebody's mind and thoughts. I see the positive in that. So nevertheless, shout out to all of you who are, just supporting us, the show. We always have amazing guests, and it warms my heart because this was the vision that God put in my brain to say, to have Hoy en Dia, because again, the goal is to motivate, inspire, enlighten, educate, and entertain, which with each episode, we want that for every viewer, every listener. We need it. We need those doses of positivity. We need that different mindset to get out of the doing what you always done. Try something different. Don't do what you always done, because guess what? If you do what you always done, you'll get what you always have. But if you want something different, think different. Shift mind, right? And that's what I encourage you as a viewer to do. If you have a goal in mind, whether it be acting, whether it be modeling, anything you want to do, a business, it can be done. But as you've witnessed with the three of us here, it takes a lot of hard work. Right. It takes determination. It takes creativity. It takes support. It takes sleepless nights, investments. There's just so much that goes on. But I will say this, the reward is going to be so much greater. And as we're witnessing here with our guests, with myself and with Manny, we all have our own legacies we're creating. We inspire to be amazing people each and every day that we wake up, because that's our purpose. So what is your purpose? That's my question to you, because the sky is never the limit, because the galaxies are endless. Thanks for watching Hoy en Dia. Until next time.